Now, on that point, I want to quickly rope in Major Mohammed Ali Shah, who has been kind enough to stay on with us. Sir, now it seems that Taliban wants to discuss how to keep terrorists and terrorist organizations at bay. Rather rich coming from a government that itself comprises of terrorists that are in fact UN designated terrorists on the list of some of the most infamous terrorists across the globe.
No, it is a government of terrorists in Afghanistan, Taliban. We all know that. I mean, they have proven to the world that they do not really care. Now, when they have talks with the Qatar foreign minister, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdul Rahman Al Thani, I mean, it is really, Qatar government will support them, there's no doubt. They will come forward because they discuss bilateral ties, they discuss about more ridiculous topics which you can think that Taliban would ever be discussing, like humanitarian assistance, economic development, interaction with the world. Who is going to be interact? Tell you one thing, will you interact with a thief? Will you interact with a dacoit? Will you interact with a murderer? You probably would not. You will not. I know you will not. Similarly, nobody would want to actually go and interact with them unless you are nations, shameless nations like Pakistan or China. So now when this thing happened with Qatar, let's see what, because Qatar also has been actually supporting the Taliban thinking that they would give them a chance. But let me tell you, the Talibani faction, the Qatari faction, rather I would say, from Taliban, the one who won Doha, the one who signed the Doha Pact, like Rana brother, they have been totally sidelined. Like we had Static Zaid, who was trained at the Indian Military Academy, sidelined again in the Afghan government. Now, who rules the rules in the when I say Afghan government, I mean the current Taliban government which has come there, unfortunately, a government of terrorists. Now, who rules the rules over there? The Afghani network. General affairs that come from all the way from Pakistan just to get seats for the Haqqani network. So when a government of terrorists dominated by the Haqqani network who had caused maximum damage worldwide, especially on Indians, in 2008 at the very popular hotel in Kabul, it was the Haqqani network which carried out the blast. In 2008, there was a very, very brutal attack on the Indian embassy, killing over 50 people over there in Kabul. It was the Haqqani network. The Haqqani network actually is very dangerous, and now when they come in talks with the Qatar government, the Qatar government actually should also consider the fact that they have, I'll give you an example, like it's very, very difficult to actually come in the UN list as a terrorist.
Correct.
Very difficult. It is not easy. And when they have people like Sirajuddin Haqqani, who's there, who has an award of millions of dollars on his head by the US as well. It is when Taliban has basically shown the world that we do not care, we will make a government that we want to do, and we will also go on talking to Qatar. On 29 February 2020, when the Doha Pact was signed between Salman Khalilzad and Rana brother, at that time the Qatar government, of course, they felicitated, of course. But now, that faction of Taliban, which also spoke of peace, amnesty, and a Taliban 2.0, a change Taliban, that faction totally sidelined.
So then, so my question is, are we being very, very pessimistic when it comes to Taliban, because Taliban continues to say that, like you said, we are 2.0 and, we believe in rights and we're going to give women rights, we're going to give journalists rights, we're going to give every person in Afghanistan the rights that they enjoyed before we came into power. So then, is the world being pessimistic or is the world being realistic?
Realistic. The world is not being pessimistic, the world is being realistic because there is nothing optimistic about Taliban. It has become a term where if anyone misbehaves, don't behave like a Talibani. So they've been branded and they've proved it. Actions speak louder than words. Earlier, I know some people who were willing to give them a chance. They said, okay, let's wait and watch what they do. But when the world waited and watched, this is what they went and did. And by declaring or swearing in on 11 September, which did not happen, that's a different thing. But declaring that itself was a big slap on the US by showing that we will go ahead with what we want to do. So there is nothing actually optimistic about Taliban, and I feel sorry to say that the Afghan army which was there, like for example, resistance force. Resistance force, if you ask me, I would say they are a government, they are not resistance force. They are the actual government. It is Talibanis who are terrorists who have taken over. So now it's ulta chot kotwal pe gura hai. It's like a government of terrorists, and the main people, the main actual people have become the militants over there.
Correct, absolutely. Major Mohammed Ali Shah, I have one last question for you. What does the future of Afghanistan look like?
You know, if Taliban government is somehow, if they pull through 6 months, they will create havoc for the entire world actually. And as their spokesperson, Mr. Sohail Shaheen, said about a fortnight back, that we have all the right to speak for the Kashmiri Muslims, and we'll raise voice for them. They have no right. It's our internal matter. Secondly, it is like, reaching a destination, fine. Now not knowing what to do, where to go, how to go about. Does Taliban know? They took over an airport, fine, very good. But do they actually know how to run an airport? They took over equipment from the US Army, which they left behind, their leftovers. But do they know how to operate that? Do they know how to form a government? Do they know how to run an effective governance? People are protesting, there's mayhem, there's going to be a civil war in Afghanistan. People are opposing, the women have come out in the streets. People are opposing them, and any journalist in Afghanistan who has tried to raise his voice, Danish Siddiqui, for example, just about 4 days back, there were 2 journalists who were beaten black and blue. I mean, any journalist who tries to actually expose Taliban, that's the fate they end up meeting. And the 2 journalists who were beaten up black and blue 2 days back, the Talibanis told them, you're lucky that you're only being beaten up and left out. You're not being beheaded. One of the Talibanis put his head on his head, his leg on his head, and he said that, we will behead you otherwise, just keep quiet. And they tracked him. So that is what, it's barbaric, and Taliban is determined to take the country at least 1,000 years behind. Earlier I would say 250 years, but now after they announced the interim government, it is over 1,000 years. So the future in Afghanistan, a country which produced the best of automobiles, not very recent, not very old, not quite recently, 40 years back, is today incapable of producing even a pin. They only know how to fire guns. We all saw the viral photograph of the Afghanistan Reserve Bank's manager, the head, who with an AK, with a gun, he's sitting over there, and he's on the computer making bullet points. So the future of Taliban, I don't see, and honestly speaking, I don't think, I was discussing with Ambassador Vora the other day, and I don't think the Taliban government is going to survive for too long actually, because they have never done, they've had no experience. It's like you go for a job. You end up getting a job, all right, the HR gives you a job. Firstly, HR will see your qualification, they'll see your work experience, but hook or by crook, supposing you even do land up a job which you do not know about, how long will you last in that job? That's a question. So I don't see Taliban government lasting for too long.